So here we are. It's Monday evening. Good evening, everybody. Those who are listening on the Acts on This TV audio experience on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever else you can get podcasts from. Huge shout out to you as well. Thank you for being here. It's Monday evening, brand new week. Anything can happen this week. How's your days been? Let me know what's going on. John says he's modelling in Pinewood Studios. It's facial cosmetics. Nice, man. John's doing a little bit of cosmetics in Pinewood Studios. Wendy Walker's just joined us. All right, Wendy. Hope you're well. Wendy, the cookie extraordinaire. We've got the next Act on This meetups, by the way, people. This coming weekend is the first Saturday, December the 1st. The first Saturday of every month, we do an Act on This TV meetup. I host the one in Manchester. Wendy hosts the one in London. Get yourself along. Both happening this coming Saturday, 11 a.m. till about 2 p.m. But they're awesome. We just get a load of actors together. We just chew the fat about the industry, help each other out. People set goals. We all figure out how we can help each other achieve them. And we drink a lot of coffee, eat a lot of cake, and Wendy brings homemade biscuits along. So get yourself down to the London one. Check the Facebook page out, Act on This Facebook page in the event section for details of it so you can RSVP. Just go to facebook.com/Act on This TV. And then click on events, and it'll be there. If they're there yet, you know what, Wendy? I don't know if I've scheduled them yet. I will do that though straight after this. Just got in from work. What have I missed? Nothing, Wendy. We have literally just begun. We've only just begun. So before I start, this won't apply to those on the audio experience. Apologies for this because this is time sensitive. Anybody watching this right now on Facebook or Twitter who does not have a membership to actonthis.tv, one, you're missing out on like hundreds of hours worth of advice from the biggest casting directors, actors, writers, agents and producers in the industry. So you should have one anyway. But because today is Cyber Monday, I'm going to put my web browser up now. This is the website. If you go to actonthis.tv tonight before midnight, you've got to do it before midnight, and I've never offered this before because I just think this is incredibly valuable content that people should pay for. I am offering a 2-week free trial. So all you do is you go to the website, scroll down a bit, and look what's happened here at the top of the screen. See this little section here that's appeared saying get a free 14-day trial. Click on that button there. That button then takes you through to sign up for a 14-day free trial. Basically, to be completely transparent, it will ask you for your card details here, so you still got to put your card details in, but you won't get charged a thing for 14 days. If you decide to cancel within that first 14 days, you won't pay anything at all, and you can have full access to the site for 14 days. You can do that. You don't have to ring up anywhere or do any jump through hoops to cancel. In the members area itself, literally is your credit card info. You just click cancel, and it won't charge you anything. When you see the content, you won't want to cancel. I know you won't, but I just know there's a lot of people in the industry that might be like, you know what, I want to try it out, but maybe do I, don't I? It's only 10 quid a month, man. It's super, super cheap. £2.50 a week for access to the biggest casting directors in the industry. Complete no-brainer. But if you are on the fence, or you've never heard of Acts on This before, get yourself over actonthis.tv and get your free 2-week membership right now. If you want, you can even do it on this broadcast if you want. I'll even let you. Do come back though. Don't stay away too long. So that's the first thing I wanted to play you. Second thing I want to play you is just a clip, a 60-second clip from the vlog that I put out this morning of me interviewing for actonthis.tv Julie Hesmondhalgh, incredible actress. She played Hayley in Coronation Street for 16 years. You'll all know her from there. She went on to shoot Russell T Davies's Banana and Cucumber. She did Broadchurch, Happy Valley, and last weekend she was in Doctor Who. You might think her journey from Coronation Street to Doctor Who was a straightforward one. Oh my God, it could have been nothing like further from the truth. It wasn't straightforward at all. I sit down and do a podcast with Julie, 77 minutes, this podcast, and she tells us about everything that she's had to go through to get from where she was, starting out at 23 with no agent and nothing, right up to where she is now working on Doctor Who. An incredible story. When she left Corrie, not a single agent in the land would meet with her. I mean, nobody in the land would have a meeting with her. She couldn't get another agent. No one wanted to know her. Fascinating, and I bet you didn't think that would be the case. Here's a 60-second clip. You can go and watch the full thing at youtube.com/watch Ross. After this, though, don't go now. And then if you go to actsonthis.tv, like I just showed you, you can listen to the full podcast. So you can go and watch the vlog on YouTube, which is behind the scenes of us recording the podcast. And then to listen to the full podcast, get it on actsonthis.tv. But here's 60 seconds of it.
But I realised that something that I thought was actually dead in me had just been asleep. And I was just like, oh no. And I didn't want it to happen. I was like, no, don't wake up. Don't wake up the monster wanting to do this again.
Welcome everybody to episode 46 of Watch Ross, the one where we sit down to record a podcast with the wonderful, the marvellous, the legendary Mrs. Julie Hesmondhaus.
I remember Debbie Rush, who played Anna Windass, was furious at me when I announced I was leaving. She went, I remember your first words to me on our first day. She went, I'm Julie, they'll carry me out for you in a box I'll buy and send to me for the 100th anniversary. And basically, nobody wanted to take me on.
Really?
No.
Wow.
I couldn't get another agent at all. Nobody wanted me. Most interesting thing we talked about just now is that sometimes things that happen that are bad are good things in disguise.
Love it. I love what she says there. Sometimes things that seem bad things, are often good things in disguise. So many tales of that I've heard from so many actors, not just Julie, but just life, innit? You can only connect the dots looking back. Some things might be going in your life right now that are pretty shit. Promise you, from adversity always spawns advantage. Fascinating story from Julie. David's here. All right, David. I saw you join the site before, mate. He said, just did this. The Julie Hesmondhaus interview was lovely. Glad I joined. David, welcome, my man, to the community. We do this live thing every Monday night. I've got interviews going up on actsonthis.tv all the time. Next week, or might save it till the week after, we got an interview with Emmerdale's Ahsan Jai. You might have seen him on Emmerdale tonight. I saw him. He's the new, it looks like Muhammad Ali, young Muhammad Ali, joined Emmerdale. He was in Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One earlier this year. He worked with Johnny Depp on, what's it, Murder on the Orient Express. Incredible guy. I've already done the interview with him. He's going to be the next vlog you can watch on YouTube, and then the full podcast will be on actsonthis.tv. I've got three incredible names in December. I'm not even going to tell you what they are. You've got to believe me. One of them particularly, do you know what? He is the biggest name I've ever had on the site, and I've been running it 8 years. The biggest name I've had on the site in 8 years will be coming on in December. Wendy says it's worth every penny, guys. Trust me. Thank you, Wendy. And Jake Francis is in the house. Jake, great to hear from you, man. Hope you are well. Definitely. Right, so tonight it's the book club. So David, if you're new to this, what we do every other week, we do a book club, and then we do loads of random things on a Monday night. Basically, we either do a motivation and mind hack session, which is like a personal development session. We do a live Q&A, which is an anything goes session, or a book club session. Tonight it's the book club, and we're looking at this book. I've got it on my iPad. Gone paperless. I don't know if I really agree with it, to be honest, when it comes to books. I like holding the book. It's just a bit weird, isn't it, having it on an iPad. But it's this one. It's called Motivate Yourself by Andro Donovan. Get the life you want, find purpose, and achieve fulfillment. And on the last book club, we looked at finding our purpose, ultimately finding our why we do things, why you want to have success in the acting industry, why you want to have success in life, why you want to do anything in your life, basically. When you know your why, you know your way. If you lose your why, you don't really know what you're doing it for, you will lose your way in this industry. Richard Hale's here from Miami. All right, Rich, good to hear from you, buddy. And tonight, you know what? This is a really interesting chapter. I read it before, and this is all about, well, you know what? This is how your brain ultimately processes fear, and we've looked at this a lot. This is nearly the 300th live broadcast that we've done over the last few years. And we've looked at fear so many times, but I never get bored of it, to be honest, because I don't think it's anything you can absolutely master 100% of the time. It's something that you can really understand. You can understand why you're feeling it. You can understand the physical attributes of it, the mental attributes of it. You can control it to a certain extent, but you can never stop it from cropping up. And ultimately, I think if you're feeling fear a lot, I don't mean irrational fear. You're doing something right, because it means you're probably stepping out of your comfort zone. If you never felt fear, all right, Caroline, great to see you here. If you never felt fear in any walk of life, then you probably just sat at home doing nothing. You know what I mean? This in every area of your life. You might be fearful to walk into the gym for the first time, fearful to go to an audition, fearful if you've only gone to, regular TV auditions for a while and you maybe want to get into musical theatre, that first time you go back to a musical theatre audition, you've got to sing or something, you'll feel the fear. You'll feel the fear on a date, asking somebody out. You'll feel the fear when you put out a monologue on Twitter that you've never shown anybody before. Feel it like in everything. Wendy, when you're baking your cookies for the Christmas market that we're going to have next Saturday, you might be like, you might feel fearful that they're not going to be Christmassy enough, or that, people might not like them, which is you should never be afraid of that, because that's never going to happen. But how we process fear fascinates me. And just like that, John says he's now going to the gym. Get to the gym, John. Take us with you if you go to the gym. Don't go to the gym and leave this broadcast, obviously. This is chapter 3, right? And it's titled, that sounds a bit dodgy, but it's titled, We All Have a Rat. Okay? We all have a rat. A rat, capital letters, R-A-T. And it starts with a quote, and it says, look, what we achieve inwardly will change outer reality. So if you can ultimately master the shit that's going on inside your head, your exterior reality is going to change as well. If your insides are crumbling and falling apart, I'm not a fan of this whole, fake it till you make it, or in Wendy's case, bake it till you make it. I think it's the worst advice ever, because, I think that if you can kind of figure all this shit out, inside, and you're super confident inside, and you can master that and really walk into situations owning them, it's so much better than faking it. And you'll make it faster, I reckon. To be honest, if you work on it as opposed to just pretending at it. So it's a bit, I don't know if I quite agree with that advice. But it starts off here. It says, the interesting thing about this journey is that we find ourselves, as we did in part 1, if you've not read part 1, if you're just joining tonight, you've never seen this book for the first time, but go on youtube.com/acts on this TV, all one word. You can find part 1 of this book on there. It says, ultimately, we find voices creeping in. There are limitations. Whenever you want to do something new, you find voices creeping in. All right, Anna, great to see you. It says, better late than never. You're not even late, Anna. It says, imagine now that you understand these, though, okay? So we get to a point where we can understand, we can hear these voices, we understand why they're happening, maybe why we're afraid of this situation we're going into. And then we're going to look at mastering a set of tools that are going to enable us to quiet those voices down. When you've got to that stage, your next challenge is to begin to understand how your mind works so that you can develop and motivate yourself to create the life that you want. And part of that is expressing a more passionate and positive version of you, right? So you'll hear me say a lot on social media and stuff. I really do think the two things that are integral to having success in anything and just being happy, it depends on what is success, right? But it's positivity and optimism. I think if you can walk around with those two things in your pocket, you're going to be smiling a lot more often than not. Doesn't make you invincible, but it's going to, it's going to really, really help, particularly in this industry. So positivity is massive. So we've got to look at how we can really make positivity louder in our lives. And becoming conscious of your state of mind is the first step of that. It's the first step to self-awareness. And it says many people, Andro says here, many people I come across have huge egos. The ego self wants to be right and uses a lot of energy to protect itself. When everything in life is going well and we're going through normal, familiar and comfortable experiences, it's quite difficult to distinguish your authentic self from your ego self because you're not being tested, are you? When everything's great, I'm currently being tested right now in quite a few areas of my life because I'm moving into this new apartment. I'm taking on way, way more financial responsibility. And I am finding myself now in my own personal life really, really having to implement all the stuff that I talk about just all the time around mindset in my own life far more consciously than I have done over the last 12 months when everything's just been fine and I've had a substantial amount of money in the bank, everything's been fine, and I hadn't bought that property yet. Now shit's got real. I am being tested. So separating me from my ego is so much easier now because I'm ultimately being forced to really look at things, realistically. So you don't really get to observe yourself until you're being tested, ultimately, is what it's saying. It says, so however, as soon as you experience challenges, difficulties, or people who are blocking you from what you want to do or telling you how to do things, these become like a red rag to a bull. Being in these circumstances activates our survival instincts. So my survival instincts definitely activated this week. So he says, during my workshops, if I want people to learn new ideas and operate in different ways, I know sooner or later I shall be asking them to leave their comfort zones. When anyone is being asked to leave their comfort zone, this is when they tend to tune into a voice. A voice, I hear you say. Yeah, that voice, that running commentary that's in your head. That one that goes something like, oh no, am I going to have to read aloud or share my feelings in a room full of strangers? Oh no, perhaps I'll need to get up and go on stage. And then the voice that gives you lots of suggestions to get out of that uncomfortable situation. Who's ever been in a situation where they've thought, holy shit, audience participation, I feel like I'm going to be dragged up on stage, and you've looked away. You thought, if I don't make eye contact and I just look at the floor, it's not going to happen. Maybe it's the same when you're walking past chuggers in the street, those people who try and get money off you for different charities. And you're like, oh, God, right, I'll get my phone out and I'll pretend I'm going to look on the phone or whatever, because your inner voice is like, oh, God, maybe you have to talk to them. Maybe you have to make an excuse about why you won't donate to them, etc., etc. That's that inner voice that we all hear. And that ultimately is your rat. Ollie says, yup. All right, Ollie, how we doing, man? So meet your rat. Here he is. Don't know if you can see that on the screen there. I have to kind of angle it a bit weird so that it doesn't get the glare of the camera, but there he is, your rat, right? It says, this is a good time to introduce you to a little character that will feature in this chapter. Rat, okay? And rat, it stands for something, obviously. Imagine a very large rat. Yes, I said rat. Imagine the whiskers and the long, pink, thick tail. Now imagine it gnawing away at your thoughts, your dreams, your best laid plans, gnawing away at everything and anything. This rat is my metaphor for rational mind. So ultimately, your rat, sounds so wrong, doesn't it? Is a metaphor for rational mind. The rational mind has one main role in life, and that's to keep you safe, or to put it in a better way, keep you alive, surviving. Okay, the primary driver and agenda for the rational mind is your survival. If life presents us with a risky choice, this rat gets very loud in our heads and begins to chatter away to us a million miles an hour, normally arguing for our limitations. This is the problem. It doesn't go, of course you can get over it, of course you can do that, of course you can achieve it. It argues on behalf of your limitations. Oh, you've never been good at that. Oh, well, last time you did it, it didn't work. Oh, your friend did it and it didn't work. John's here. Hi, Ross. Always feel bad when approached by homeless in London because it happens so often on what you just talking about there. Yeah, it's difficult, that one as well, John, man. You know, I always like to help out everywhere I can, but there's sometimes where you're just like, look, I just can't give to everybody. I really wish I could. If you are a member of Acts on This, by the way, actsonthis.tv, at Christmas time, I always take some homeless people off the streets for Christmas Day through the charity crisis with the revenue raised from your memberships. So just by joining the site, by the way, you are helping the homeless people. It's a cause really close to my heart, John. So it's something that I always do, and you will see me put that out in December. Ollie says, what book is this again? I missed a start. It's called Motivate Yourself by Andro Donovan. It's a brand new book, Motivate Yourself by Andro Donovan, Ollie, and it looks at ultimately being able to motivate yourself internally, rather than go and watch, get your favorite music on or watch a motivational video, etc. Sometimes in life, we just need to motivate ourselves, and that's the hardest thing. So we can understand the internals, what's going on in your head. You're going to be able to do that much more effectively than needing external influences. Tolu says, I hate to say that too. I feel guilty not to give, but can't give as many times as I'm asked. You can't, Tolu. You just can't. So you just got to, do what you can. And just be open if people are looking for you to buy a big issue or something like that. Say, listen, I'm so sorry, I just can't right now. And normally when I say that, they're just like cool with it, have a great day. It's nice to acknowledge someone, isn't it? At least you're acknowledging that they exist. So let's carry on this. Your ratty tape recordings. This is interesting, right? So it says, I want you to imagine your rat sitting in your brain between your eyes, right? Like a secret video camera. It captures on tape every experience you have ever had in life that made a deep impression on you. And you can see the rat, those on the audio experience, you can't, unfortunately. But this guy here is sat in the middle of two piles of videotapes. And on one side, he's got the positive tapes. On the other side, he's got the toxic tapes, right? It says the rat sits in the middle of two piles of videotapes. The pile on the right is everything in life you did badly, where you failed, screwed up, hurt yourself, or looked stupid. I'll call these toxic trauma tapes. On the left, Rat has a pile of tapes of you being great, successful, winning, and achieving. I'll call these your big you up tapes. So you've got your big you up tapes, and you've got your toxic trauma tapes. So the toxic trauma tapes we're going to look at first. Gross, says Caroline. Every time life presents you with similar undesirable circumstances, right, Rat replays that toxic tape, and you automatically relive all the feelings, emotions, and physical sensations. The toxic trauma tapes stored on the right are very deeply recorded in your memory banks, and these tapes are very difficult to erase. Rat's intention is to keep you safe and stop you from repeating the same mistake that historically caused you pain or embarrassment. To make the message even more powerful, Rat is simultaneously giving you a stream of negative and limiting self-talk to stop you in your tracks and cause you to make a different decision. Decisions that will keep you in your comfort zone and safe. And we know from Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule, if you remember that one, awesome book, I recommend everyone reads it if you haven't. She ultimately discovered that really, in reality, from having a decision about doing something, I will write to that casting director, I will shoot a self-tape, I will do a short film, I will write my own screenplay, whatever it is. You have roughly 5 seconds before your brain will begin to talk you out of doing that thing. And again, that's your Rat effectively trying to keep you safe and stop you from any harm. So ultimately, instant action is really integral to getting shit done. So, for instance, let's say that you were poor at reading as a child, and now as an adult you've been given an opportunity to make a presentation to a group of people from a stage. At this point, Rat pulls out that tape of you at school when things did not go well for you. Rat wants to remind you of all the thoughts and feelings you had back then, by way of stopping you going through the same negative experience. Rat may begin to give you reasons why you should not do this. You can't stand up on stage and present to this large group of people. Are you mad? Do you remember the last time you were asked to do that by your teacher at school and you made a real fool of yourself and fluffed all your words? At this stage, you may even start sweating and feel hot under the collar as Rat replays for you all the sensations you had back in your childhood when you were asked to stand on a stage. This is an outdated survival strategy that does not serve you in your adult life, and it's imperative that you see it for what it is. So now we're going to look at Roland Rat. Someone just said, remember him? I do remember Roland Rat. He's a legend. Let's look at your big you up tapes, right? On the other hand, we must remember that Rat also has a pile of tapes on the left-hand side, and these are all the experiences where you look cool, you were winning, tapes of your past experiences where you were successful. Those of us who have had a life of positive and good experiences have an easier time, as Rat will replay encouraging self-talk. For example, yeah, go ahead and ski off that black run. You're really good at sport. Remember that time you did a similar thing on that school trip and you won the school ski race? We never went skiing at school. Clearly did not go to a posh enough school to go skiing. On these occasions, Rat can be your best friend, encouraging you to take a risk based on past positive experience. That's a good thing. So how do we get out of the toxic Rat zone? Many of the people I meet have all sorts of fears and phobias, and if they listen to their Rat, they would never put a foot out of their comfort zone. According to Daniel Goleman in his 1996 book, Emotional Intelligence, another great book, we are constantly scanning our environment looking for threats. To be precise, the amygdala, we spoke about that, that's like the alarm system inside your head. The amygdala, like an almond-shaped part of the limbic brain, is standing guard like an emotional sentinel, challenging every situation, every perception, with one question in mind. The most primitive question you can ask yourself: is this a threat to my survival? Is this something I should fear? If we get a yes, the amygdala reacts instantly and triggers our fight, fright, or flight response. The amygdala, Rat, if you will, it's ultimately your Rat, pulls the adrenaline lever, sounds the alarm, and our entire system prepares for the onslaught of the perceived attack and gets ready for survival. I've found over the years that this metaphor of Rat is a great working model for people to better understand how they keep themselves stuck in their comfort zones. This is especially true when they are learning new concepts and being invited to examine deeply held beliefs that do not serve them anymore, or are being asked to take a risk. During these occasions, we can become attached to our internal commentary. And we're going to look at a guy called George now. And he realised, he said, my sense of family duty was holding me back. So anyone here in a well, maybe as a family and feel like they have a family duty, listen up, you might be in the same situation. George's marriage was on the rocks due to the long separations caused by his crippling international travel schedule. He only saw his kids in the holidays, and his weight and health was spiraling out of control. Something had to give. He yearned to hand over the reins of the family business to his younger brother so he could get on and live the life he'd always wanted, but his strong sense of family duty and troubled relationship with his father were holding him back. Although George was in his early 40s, he always felt intimidated and like a little boy in the presence of his father. Every time he got ready to bring up the subject, he had visions of his father getting upset and stressed. A stream of Rat's disempowering thoughts would run through his mind. How could you possibly be so ungrateful and throw this privileged position back in your father's face? Do you want to give him a heart attack? How can you let everyone down like this? Think of your family. You're the eldest and it's your duty as a good son. Blah, 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 blah. Coupled with, will I survive? Will my father's health suffer if I cause him this stress and upset? Will the family be okay? Or will they feel I've abandoned them for my selfish reasons? So many reasons there that like people don't attack their acting careers because of their family. During one of our sessions, I assisted George to articulate the voices and therefore become more conscious of them. Through this method, George learned that these voices were not coming from him, but from Rat, whose motive was to keep him in his comfort zone and stop him from rocking the boat. Rat was desperately trying to preserve the status quo and keep George safe. Eventually, having had time to reflect, George realised that he was now willing to take the risk and speak from his heart. I always say that to people. If you're ever unsure about a decision, guys, get out your head, get into your heart. Your heart already knows the answer. Always does. Get out of your head. If you're having an argument with your spouse or whatever, just tell them you're in your head. Get out of your heart. I mean, out of your head. Let's get to our hearts. Just stops arguments in their tracks. So yeah, eventually, George has time to reflect, and he's now willing to take the risk and speak from his heart. In other words, to connect and express what he wanted. He spoke to his father at the very next opportunity. He was astonished at how receptive his father was and that he just wanted George to be happy. Had George continued to listen to his negative Rat voices, he may have been stuck in his I can't world for some time, trapped in his ratty thoughts, paralysed by fear and negative self-talk. As a result of taking the plunge, George now enjoys a stable home life. He's relocated to London with his family, joined a gym, and everyone is happy to be reunited. Things are working, and his marriage is on the mend. So a lot of people here, because of Rat in your head, right, you might be putting off a conversation with your agent. You might have been putting off a conversation with your brother, with your sister, with your mum, your dad, your spouse, whatever, because you want to do something, but you feel that it's going to rock the boat, right? And then Rat's feeding you all this shit in your head. Yeah, no, it will be. Oh, you can't do that. That's selfish. You've got responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, what you're saying is, I'm not going to live the life that I want to live for myself. I'm going to get to 91, be really regretful, resent everyone around me because I've never done what I wanted to do, and then I'm going to die. Don't do that. That would be a really bad thing to do. What you've got to do is get the courage to have that conversation. A lot of people here are not having conversations with people for fear of such a short-term burn, ultimately, that awkward moment for 5 seconds. And they're focusing on that more than the long-term incredible positive gain they would get from having that conversation. And then if you're in George's situation, you're catastrophizing an eventuality that never becomes real. Oh my God, my dad's going to go crazy. He's going to go mental if I say I want to do acting instead of being a doctor or whatever. And then you have that conversation. He goes, brilliant, just want you to be happy. And you're like, holy shit, just wasted 5 years of my life. You make Rat sound like a disease. Well, they do carry diseases, Caroline. So yeah. This is really interesting. This is kind of where not too much. It's not a long chapter actually for once. This book's only got really, really long chapters. But this is looking at the physiology behind fear, and it's going to make you realise that actually fear and excitement are actually one and the same. John says, this guy, man, he's the best thing that ever happened to me. Ooh, the Rat guy. Andro. Ooh, let us know. Right, fight, fright, or flight sensations, as they are sometimes called, occur when Rat... Make it sound like a disease again, Caroline. When Rat picks up on threatening danger signals. A physical threat, for example, right? We are about to be mugged or we're about to crash the car, okay? Rat's going to pick up on that. That's some pretty big signals for Rat. A mental threat, right? For example, someone is saying no to us when we're trying to get our own way. No, the Ross guy. Oh, me, thanks, John. I appreciate that, mate. Love it. So ask yourself, right, what physical sensations do you get when you experience danger and feel the fear? And here's some here. It says tick all that apply. Now, the options are, so give me some yeses if you feel any of these. When you feel fear and you're experiencing danger, do you ever get like hot? You get like a bit of a hot flush going on? Maybe like, do you know what? God, yeah, do you know what? Instantly. Completely vouch for that. When I left my iPhone in an Uber a few weeks ago and I got out of the car, saw the car drive off and I went to get my phone out of my pocket and realised it was still in the Uber. Instant panic, an instant like flush in the face going, oh my goodness, right? So hot. Caroline saying, yeah. Sweaty. Definitely had sweaty palms, 100%. Just instantly. Churning tummy. Yep. Shallow breathing. Don't know about that one. Definitely churning tummy, sweaty and hot though. Moist hands. Yep, 100%. Wendy says yes, but it's just my age. Dry mouth. Yep, definitely. Right, next. Consider the physical sensations of sheer excitement. Tick all that apply. Options are hot, sweaty, churning tummy, shallow breathing, moist hands, dry mouth. Guess what? They are all the same. Generally speaking, the physical attributes of both fear and excitement are absolutely identical. In other words, it's adrenaline being pumped through the body, and it always creates the same physical sensations. However, your rat, right? Rat puts the experience through different software. When Rat wants to get us out of a dangerous situation, when our very survival is at stake, Rat pulls on the adrenaline lever and gives us all the physical sensations listed above. Well, we just read them. Not only that, though, he adds in some very powerful instructions. He says, this is scary. Let's get you the hell out of here. Run for your life. Okay? But if Rat feels there's no danger presented, and indeed this is an exciting and enjoyable experience, like driving a fast car, going on a roller coaster ride, great sex, skiing down a black run, Rat creates the physical experience. We only have one kind of adrenaline, so the same physical experience that we've just mentioned. But this time he sends you positive messages. This is exciting. You can enjoy this. When was the last time you felt this? Life is super, full of adrenaline and vitality. This is great. My heart is thumping. This is so, so exciting. Regardless of whether there's a positive or negative experience, Rat is a very powerful advisor. With every experience, the physical sensations are the same. It's pure adrenaline rushing through your body. The only thing that's different is the tape that Rat is playing for you. Clever Rat can convince you that black is white and white is black depending on the circumstances that you find yourself in. Rat is very efficient at keeping you conscious of anything that threatens your survival. And then it goes into ultimately where this hardwiring comes from. It comes from, obviously, we're just born with it. It's in our DNA. We're hardwired to survive. But in this day and age, we're over-surviving. So the key to all of this, ultimately, and what he's saying is, look, if we can ultimately sense when we are feeling these things and then take control of the tape that Rat puts in the player in terms of going, holy shit, right, my heart rate is raising, I'm sweating, I'm feeling a churning stomach right now. If you can frame that situation as a positive one, as in if you were in a reception of an audition room, and you, rather than saying to yourself, holy shit, I'm going to forget my lines and this is all going to go wrong, which would equal fear, if you can feed yourself these messages as in, right, I'm going to learn something here, this is an opportunity, regardless of the outcome, I'm going to learn, therefore I'm going to succeed, you can turn that fear instantly into excitement. So you control that. You have the absolute ability to interpret adrenaline in the way that you want to. Now, for most people, they just give in and allow Rat to do that for them. If you can be conscious of those physical attributes, going, okay, this is basically either, right now, I'm either feeling fear or I'm feeling excitement. They both feel exactly the same, but it depends on the spin that my head is now going to put on these physical attributes. Andy Blaw's here. All right, Andy Blaw. Great to see you, man. Caroline says, don't talk to me about adrenals. Wow, what's that about, Caroline? And Jenna's lost her phone as well because I left it on the bus. Oh, that's an awful feeling. But, you know, I could have framed that differently when I left it in that Uber as to go, right, okay, now this is a challenge to get it back. Of course I'm going to get it back. My brain instantly wanted to go to, holy shit, you just lost 1,200 quid in a car. So that adrenaline, my amygdala's going off in my head, you know, your alarm system, cortisol starts rising, and you start attributing that to fear and the end of the world, as opposed to going, right, okay, let's get this back. And the physical attributes of adrenaline, fear and excitement, exactly the same, bar the spin that you put on it mentally. So he says, look, we all hit barriers. I want you to remember a time when you were going about your day-to-day life feeling quite happy, and suddenly you got an awful phone call, entered into a difficult conversation maybe, or an argument, or even worse, found out a loved one was ill or in trouble. In other words, metaphorically speaking, you hit a brick wall, a big brick wall. Keep the scenario in mind as you read the rest of this chapter. When your scenario occurred, you probably had a physical reaction to the bad news. Plus, you will have hit some negative emotional barriers. Make a note of what these feelings typically are for you, and then consider the 5 key negative emotional barriers that I'm going to introduce you to. So we're going to look at these 5 key negative emotional barriers. There are so many negative emotions you might hit, but to keep this simple, I've distilled them into 5 key negative emotions. Apathy, grief, fear, anger, and pride. And we'll look at each one if we got time. Andy says, just checking in, Ross. Not done so for a while. All is good, mate. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Blore. Excellent. Hope you're having a nice little Jack Daniels. Enjoy your night. And thanks for jumping on when like I'm a Celebrity's on. I know a lot of people are watching that this evening. So, right, let's explore each in turn. Apathy. This is the lowest, this is like one of the lowest emotional human states, okay? The physiology of this state is low to no energy. Slumped in the chair or lying down. Your rational thoughts might be, what's the point? I can't be bothered with this anymore. I've failed. I'm worthless. I've let everyone down. Anyone been there? In or out of the acting career? Anybody? Anyone just gone, right, you know what? Frig this whole thing. I'm done. I'm not getting out of bed. Forget this. I'm going to get a 9 to 5 job. Why the hell did I ever decide I was going to try and do this acting thing again? That's literally the lowest negative emotional state you can be in as a human being. Next one is grief, right? This is slightly higher energy level. And in this state, we might have thoughts like, it's not fair. Will it be okay? Why me? Why is this always happening to me? Wendy says regularly, Wendy, we're going to get you out of this. Bulletproof Actor is going to get you out of that. So grief's a bit like a victim mentality. Why me, why me, why me? Fear, right? In this state, our energy is held in our stomachs. We can lose our appetite, and our thoughts might be, will I survive? What if I lose my business? What if everybody wants out? Big one, isn't it? Anger. This is a much higher energy state, and in this negative emotional state, we're having frightful thoughts like, I'll kill him. I'm furious. We pace up and down as we feel so full of explosive negative energy. Maybe you felt like that. Oh, yeah, says Ide. This energy can then turn in on itself and become pride. This is the highest energy state of all the negative emotions, and it is broadly an expression of, I can't and I won't. How dare they? Who do they think they are? Do they know who they're dealing with here? I'm not apologising. They're in the wrong. I'm right. Nothing positive happens in these energy states, in any of them, right? Rat thoughts that are negative keep us stuck, which in turn affects our emotional states. And then we've got this emotional breakthrough process, ultimately to get you out of this shit. Sophie's here. All right, Sophie. Thanks very much for being here. So motivational breakthrough process. If you're feeling any of those 5 negative states, let's have a look at some things that you can do to kind of get yourself out of there, right? Once you've identified what your barriers are, you can break through this cycle. You decode your thoughts and feelings and acknowledge that you are trapped. So ultimately, you know what? I had a little issue before going, I need to, there's basically in this new apartment that I bought, there's loads of like major works going on to the first floor outside, right? And this management company been taking money off all the residents for like 2 years. And I've been seeing it going like just out of this account that I've had with them. And there's not really an explanation of what this money's being used for and this, that, and the other, and all this kind of stuff. And I've just been kind of letting it go, going, oh, it's fine, it must all be right. And then today, to cut a long story short, basically, I had 1,700 quid in credit on this account. Logged in today, it said it was 600 quid in debit. So somehow 2,300 quid over about 3 days has been spent out of this account. And I was like, right, okay. I'd been feeling trapped, ultimately, in their rules and regulations and all this shit, thinking, no, they must be doing it right. They're a big company, of course they must be doing it right. And then today, in terms of this part here, decoding your thoughts and your feelings, and acknowledge that you're trapped, that was like a massive breakthrough moment to me. So go, wait a minute, no, I'm paying them. I will demand explanations of exactly what's going on. And you know what? If it comes to it, right, because I'm pretty good on social media and stuff, I've created like a residents group on Facebook, right? And I will get 51, you only need 51% of the residents to agree that the management company's a pile of shit. And ultimately, you can force them out. So I'm like, listen, right, I'm going to take control. But for so many months, I've just felt trapped in this thing. And it wasn't until today, identifying the barriers that were there, basically a really shit management company that don't seem to know their arse from their elbow. I was like, right, I'm getting out of this. So ultimately, yeah, I resonate with that one. 3, right, you focus on a short-term goal. So for me, it's probably getting all the residents together. E.g., if you're in apathy in bed, right, ultimately, let's focus on a really short-term goal. Get up, right? That's the hardest part, but it's the beginning of like getting things back on track. 4, raise your energy and transform the rat negative self-talk to positive self-talk. E.g., I can get through this. I've done it before and I'll do it again. Remind yourself that this too shall pass. And that's all about both internal and external vocabulary and self-talk. I say this all the time, but remember, your vocab is not your vocab, well, your vocab is incredibly important, but your subconscious is always listening to that vocab. So anytime, even when I catch people just like, saying, oh, you idiot, to themselves when they knock something over or something like that, I'm like, subconscious just heard that. You've got to absolutely be completely aware of all the things that you're saying. So many people are like, oh, but I was joking when I said that. But you still said it, and your subconscious doesn't know you're joking. Would anyone like to adopt or take on my rat, says Ine? It's a damn nuisance and further to requirements. You can kick it into touch, Ine. I don't know if it's something like, this is a little bit like your negative and your positive wolf in your head, always having a battle all the time, and the one you choose to feed is the one that wins the battle. So it's a little bit like that, really. I think ratty can either be like your pet, or you can be like, and under control, or it can be like biting you and giving you diseases, which is not what you want. Once you've learned the motivational breakthrough method, so to go through that again, ultimately, it's identifying what your barrier is. And sometimes you've got to hit rock bottom to even see what that is, sometimes. I always say this, rock bottom is like the foundations you build the rest of your life on. So if you're there right now, it's fine. This too shall pass. Decode your thoughts and feelings, which is ultimately just acknowledging that you're accountable. Going, actually, you know what? This situation I'm in right now, I can just point fingers at everybody else in the world and say that it's all their fault. But actually, the most empowering thing I can do right now is point my finger at myself and say the only person that is keeping me in this bed full of apathy and feeling like I don't want to get up is me. Nobody else on the outside. The world can be a cruel place and everyone can be, bad. And you might feel that, oh, well, if they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here now, etc., etc. When you actually start pointing fingers at yourself, you take all the power off those people who've done you wrong and you bring it all back into your court and you realise that, like, you are in control. At that point, you hit that short-term goal. And that short-term goal for me is always, what's the one thing I can do right now that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary? And if it's literally because you're in bed feeling like shit, get out of bed, clean your teeth. First thing I do in the morning that makes everything else easier is get out of bed and clean my teeth instantly. And the moment I freshen my mouth up and I've had Listerine in my mouth, I hold it there for 2 minutes. That feeling you get, it's like, it's actually going to you feel it could be burning the skin off the inside of your mouth, but you hold it just to test it a little bit longer. It's that for me, always in the morning, gets you going. And at that point, you've got to raise your energy. And you raise your energy by transforming your self-talk. And ultimately, again, sometimes that takes that little bit of I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, ultimately. And sometimes it just requires that. But once you've got, to that point, that's when you can break through. But that's when you need to sustain the positive self-talk. Because if you don't get the outcome you want straight away and your self-talk starts going negative again, you slide right back down and the whole process begins again. But once you've learned the motivational breakthrough method, you will move into a positive arena. You'll have raised your energy, focused on a short-term goal, and transformed your negative self-talk. You will notice that you are experiencing more positive emotions. As you transform your thoughts, you transform your emotions. Your physiology and focus are more positive. You're walking tall, smiling, and expressing energy. You're now in a positive emotions of I can and I will. This is a wonderful space to be in. And once there, you'll want to stay there. You can hit any one of these negative barriers throughout the day. Your skill at managing the rat voice in your head, though, and your willingness to express energy and focus on a small short-term goal will assist you to move through these states quickly and not dwell and wallow in a self-limiting stream of thoughts. And then it goes on, this chapter, to say, don't be. In fact, you know what? I wasn't going to read this, but I'll read this quickly. It says, I remember when I worked for a big consulting practice. In the early days, I did a stint as a salesperson. I remember feeling great about the fact I was achieving my sales targets. However, I also felt a bit of a victim because I was not given the salary increase I felt I deserved. I was in grief mode about it. I was having thoughts like, why have they not noticed how well I'm doing? It's not fair. I'm so much more productive than everyone else. And you might have that as an actor when you see people on TV. You're like in grief mode because you haven't got the job, and you see someone going, why do they get it? I'm so much better than them. I'm working so much harder than them, etc. One day, I plucked up the courage to walk to the sales director's office and just come out and ask for what I knew I deserved. Her office had a glass front, so you could always see the mood she was in. As I walked closer and closer, my rat got louder and louder. What if she gets angry and throws me out? Who am I to ask for a salary increase? Am I that good? What if this just isn't the right time? Bullshit, that one. It's always the right time, because it's never a right time, thus it's always the right time. I could feel my heart thumping and my hands getting moist. Then I hit pride. If she has not realised I deserve one, then who am I to tell her? She should be coming to me. With that, I turned and started walking back to my office. Gradually, the thumping subsided. My rat went quiet. I sat down and congratulated myself on making the right decision, which made me feel so much better. But had I actually done the right thing? Just because you feel comfortable does not mean it's the right decision. Later, I found out that had I stepped out of my comfort zone, my sales director would have rewarded me with my inevitable rise 6 months earlier. In fact, she told me, if you'd come out and just asked me for a rise, I would have been compelled to give it to you as your results were so good. So how many times have you been like, I'm going to reach out and ask for that audition, but oh no, I can't because then they'll blacklist me because I shouldn't be asking for auditions because who am I to ask for auditions? And how many times have you missed out? Probably a lot. How many times have you thought of sending that email, thought of writing that thing, and you haven't done it because your rat has talked you out of it? And you felt like it was the right choice because you feel calm again. Like, oh, yeah, no, it wasn't really for me. That anyway, I feel so much better now. I've decided not to do that. Was it really the right choice? So it says, go back to the scenario you chose earlier and add any other situations that you want to work on. So any situation that comes up now and again that you always feel, ultimately that fear or excitement physiology around. Okay, use the above list of barriers. So we've looked at those. It says to identify which ones you typically go through, whether it's apathy, grief, fear, anger, or pride. And then look, say, which emotional barriers do you typically hit? What thoughts are you having when you're in this emotional state? What happens just before? Maybe what's a trigger? You might have like a trigger that's regular. Now go through all the negative emotions and try to articulate how you feel and what you're thinking in these states, and then look for patterns. And when you can figure out your patterns, ultimately you can start taking control of stuff. It says, look, you are not your rat. It's just an outdated conditioning. It's very important that you know when you are below the breakthrough line, and that's when you're saying I can't and I won't. In your own thoughts and emotions. Surface the voice, and remember, it's just a voice that you can choose to change. So I encourage everybody this week, when you are feeling your rats getting a bit too loud in your head, and it's talking you out of doing stuff, and then you end up walking away like he did from his rise, question yourself, is this actually, although I'm feeling calmer and more comfortable now, is this actually the right decision? Or can I flip the framing of these physiological, attributes I'm feeling right now, my stomach churning, my heart rate increasing, and can I actually interpret these as excitement rather than fear? And when you can do that, you get excited about life forever. Ross, can I say, since I've been listening and watching you for over a year now, I've incorporated your advice, and wow, how my career has changed to the positive. Thank you, Brian, man. What an awesome comment. Thank you so much. Well, it's, I mean, I just curate all this stuff. Ultimately, is just me curating loads of other info that's out there, stuff that I'm just massively, obsessed with, positive psychology, hugely positive about, and it gives me great joy spreading it ultimately and helping other people out. But this is all stuff I'm never ever telling anybody to do shit that I don't do in my life. And that's why I try and document everything. That's why you should go and watch the vlog, everybody, youtube.com/Watch Ross. It just works. All of this stuff just freaking works, ultimately. The more in charge of your emotions you can be, and ultimately the more understanding you've got of why you're feeling the way you are, I just think that's massively empowering. It doesn't mean you're never, ever going to not feel shit. Of course you are. I felt shit today when I logged in and found that £600 debt that was £1,700 in credit last week. That wasn't a great surprise. But I'm like, okay, right, I understand why I'm feeling this now, and then I go through all those emotions as well, and it all turns into that pride kind of thing. Right, that's it, who are these people? But ultimately, when all that calms down, you still have a breakthrough moment because you realise, what, I am kind of in control of this. I will get this sorted. This too shall pass. Everything will be okay. But it's interesting because you end up not putting yourself through half the turmoil you would do if your emotions were controlling you. Is that fluffy thing behind you a rat? I'll tell you what that is in a second, Inez. Inez, am I saying your name right, by the way? Inez or Inez? Because I heard someone on the live call the other night call you Inez, and I thought, maybe I've been saying it wrong for like a year. Let me know. When he said I think it's a mic, yeah. So it does look like a little This is my rat. I pulled it out of my head before. No, do you know what I'm doing? As I'm cleaning out this, I've got this whole office here, because I'm moving to this new apartment, I've been cleaning out loads of boxes of kit, right? Obviously, I'm a bit of a geek, and I've had a lot of kit over the years, microphones, cameras, all kinds of stuff. And honestly, I found an absolute freaking gold mine of stuff that I was going to throw away. My advice for anybody right now, there's probably a lot of shit in your house that you think's useless and nonsense and is not worth anything. It's absolutely not the case. Have a look on eBay, right? Because people will buy anything. Let me have a look on my phone. I have basically stuff I was going to throw away in the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's quite a lot of stuff, but it's not like massively valuable things. It's just little items. But I've got 6 items still to sell. So there's going to be, there'll probably be another couple of £100 coming in. But I've made £378.89p off stuff that I was going to throw in the bin. It's nearly £400. So at this time of year, it's useful, isn't it? I was paying a little bit of that maintenance that they're robbing off me. So that, Inez or Inez, is, you've been saying it wrong, Ross, have I? Oh, what? I've been saying it wrong. Do you know what, though? You've been so polite, Inez, that I appreciate that. People, you can call me whatever you want. People call me Grant because my surname's Grant. I think that's actually my first name and stuff like that. And I went through a whole phase where people thought got Ross Kemp and Grant Mitchell mixed up, and the whole Ross Grant thing in my name, and people calling me Grant Mitchell, and so it was very weird. It's a little fluffy thing off a microphone, Inez, to stop it popping. See, so look, I can put it on this one, but it might not work. So see if I get really close, it kind of pops like that. If I got really close to this one, it probably doesn't. But maybe you can't hear me very well. So I don't know if it works at all. For those on the audio experience, apologies if I've just assaulted your ears. So yeah, get eBay in. If you get the eBay app on your iPhone, by the way, you can scan with the camera on the phone, literally scan the barcodes of items. And then it tells you what they're worth. And then you don't even need to type in the listing or anything like that. You literally just click sell one like this or sell similar or something it is. Once you've scanned it, put in the price you want, and it's done. And at the moment, I don't know if it's all month or just until it'll probably be till December, where it's 4 days left. Listings are free on eBay. So it's 400. Yeah, look, here's some notifications. I've got some new bids have come in. New bids have just come in live on the vlog. New bids. Let's see what I got. I mean, I didn't get very much, I don't think. So if anyone wants Super Mario 3D Land on the Nintendo 3DS. It's got 41 minutes left. It's currently going for £6. I've got Mario Kart 7. It's going for £20. And that's got 47 minutes left. Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. It's only going for £5.50. 53 minutes left, but 9 people are watching it. Could be an interesting little finale. And the big things are this microphone you see behind me with the fluffy rats. That's currently 50 quid. And the other one's 46 quid. But they honestly were things that I would have thought, God, I've had them years. I mean, I've had them years. Some of those things there, they're probably like 8 or 9 years old. And back then, I probably paid 250 quid for them. Still getting, 50, 60 quid 9 years later. It's all right, that, isn't it? I found some old recordings of me. The very, very first Christmas thank you video I did for Acts on This in 2011. I found some audio recordings of me presenting. God, I was shit. I mean, I was really shit. I think I'm all right now, but I'll probably look back in 10 years and go, God, when you're doing them live broadcasts on a Monday night, you were shit. But I was really bad. And I tell you what, do you know why I was bad? Because I wasn't being myself, right? What you're seeing now is if you met me in real life, it's like nothing would change. This is exactly how I am and show up in the world. What I was doing on those first videos, and this is great advice for anybody who wants to create a business, right? I was being something. I was trying to portray myself as something I wasn't. I was trying to portray myself as Acts on This being a company, and I would send emails out to people. I'm so embarrassed when I look back at this. I send emails out to my list from like the team, from us. We attacked on this. No, bullshit, mate. I was on my own in my bedroom. What a liar. And there I am thinking that if I just tell people that I run Acts on This on my own and it's just me and I'm just an actor, then no one will want to listen. And I couldn't have been more wrong, because I think that's why initially the first 3 years was so hard and no one was listening, because I was just trying to be like corporate. Or I thought, oh no, people are going to have to think that I'm like massive or they won't want to get involved. I think it's the other way around, isn't it? I learned that quick. I sent an email out in like year 3 when I was about to close Acts on This down completely. And I said, the email was titled, what have I done wrong, or what am I doing wrong? And ultimately, it's a really vulnerable email that said, listen, over the last 3 years, I've sent you countless emails, I've put on this, that, and the other, I've tried to get people in the community, and I've got to come clean, right? Basically, this is me. I need your help. This is me. I do it on my own. I film everything myself. I edit everything myself. I record everything myself. I do all the web editing, all the online stuff. I mean, literally everything. And I'm just at the point where I'm going to close the whole thing down. Could you give me some pointers on like what I'm doing wrong? And normally I'd get maybe like, I'd send my email list an email and I'd get maybe like, honestly, 3% to 10% of people max opening the email. That email got like a 75% open rate on it. And I got about 75 replies back from people going, oh my God, I never knew. If you'd have just said at the beginning that this was what you were doing, we'd have all mucked in and helped you, but we just felt that it was just a company, and companies in the acting industry notoriously just want your money and they don't really want to help you. So if you're starting a business in anything, like, honest to God, just be true to yourself, whatever that is. And you will find people that vibe with that authenticity. And you won't attract everybody. There'll be some people who just, do want to deal with corporate people. There'll be some people who get turned off by, it just being you for whatever reason. But the majority of people, your vibe attracts your tribe. You'll find people who just gravitate towards you based on who you are, and it just makes life a lot easier. So don't let your rats get you all afraid about, I've got to be seen as something in this industry that I'm not. That's nonsense. You'll be rewarded for what you are. Caroline says, bless you. Oh, Caroline, it was really bad. I honestly, absolutely so embarrassed when I look back. And I deleted them, but I wish I would have kept those recordings. It was so cheesy. And it was me just being so like, ugh. It was like, oh God. It was just like sickly sweet and like, hi guys. This is Ross Matson this. We just like, oh God. It's rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. But I think it's a bit better now. What you see is what you get. Like it or lump it now. Hopefully you guys will stick with me. Appreciate it. So that's it for the book club for tonight. It's just gone 10 o'clock. Please, if you don't have your membership for Acts on This yet, go and get this free trial while it's available. It's available for less than 2 hours now. It's just a Cyber Monday thing. I never go in for Cyber Monday on Acts on This. I will never discount ever the membership, by the way. Please don't think I'll wait till it's discounted. It never will be. I think it's incredibly cheap at 10 quid. And also, do you know the reason I never discount stuff on Cyber Monday or Black Friday or whatever is because I respect all of you lot who have already paid your £10 a month or your £90 a year for the membership. How shit would you feel if suddenly today I give a 50% off coupon to the world who's never even invested in anything I've done, has never attended any live broadcasts, has never sent me any emails, retweeted any of my stuff, and I just go, have 50% off your membership because it's Cyber Monday. You'd be like, Ross is a twat. I've been paying £10 a month for God knows how long. What a dickhead. So, yeah, I don't do that. I will never, ever discount ads on this, not because I'm like, some sort of corporate weirdo, just because I respect you lot too much who've already got a membership. I just think it's wrong, ultimately, and I would feel betrayed if suddenly out of the blue, like, a company I'd spent money on started offering stuff well cheap for no reason that it's Cyber Monday. So what I have done is a 14-day free trial. So ultimately, if you go to the site now, and you'll see at the top of the site here, this little blue banner that pops up. It's only going to be popping up till midnight. After that, it will never be seen again. Click on that Get Your Free Trial button. It's going to take you through to a page where, and again, for transparency, I said it at the beginning, you put your card details in, so it will ask you for your card details. It won't charge you anything, though, for 14 days. Have a great look around the site at the hundreds of hours worth of interviews that are on this site with the biggest names in the industry. I mean, have a look at some of the people. Here's Asanjai from Emmerdale. He was in Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. That's coming next week, says coming soon underneath it. But that's already been done. I've already recorded that podcast. There's Julie Hesmondhalgh. You'll see her in Doctor Who last week. Played Hayley for 16 years. Absolute legend. There's Nick Phillips, one of veteran directors in serial drama for all the soaps. He was at EastEnders for about 15 years, now at Coronation Street. He's done things like Casualty, Holby. We've got agents on here. Awesome agent, Guy Howe, WGM Talent in Manchester. Haitian Mystery from Hollyoaks. My voiceover agent I had on talking about careers in voiceover. It's a huge part of my life, changed my life. Rachel Shenter's on there. She's got her Oscar for the short film Silent Child. Talks all about that. Rob Collier, my mate from Downton Abbey, plays Thomas. He's just filming the new Downton film right now. Victor Jenkins, the casting director from Humans. Hollyoaks casting director Peter Hunt. Poldark writer Debbie Horsfield. She also wrote the BBC drama recently, which was only only the one that was in. I forgot the name. Age Before Beauty. Michael Jackson, casting director. He's married to Beverly Keogh, a massive casting director as well. These aren't only the features on there. Those are the newest ones, and there's new features all the time. If you are not on this, you're hurting your acting career, like full stop. Go get your free membership. It's free for 2 weeks. You can cancel from the members area as well. It's not like jumping through hoops to cancel. If you get your membership and you're like, this is shit, you click on the little settings menu in your members area and you cancel it like instantly. You don't need to get in touch with anyone to do it. It's not. I hate companies that make you do that. Oh, get a free trial. Oh, to get out of your trial, you've got to phone us, and you can only phone us between 2 and 2:15 on a Thursday, 3 times a month. No, that's bollocks. You can just get out of this whenever you want. But I know when you get a membership, you won't want to. You just won't want to because the stuff there is so valuable. So actsonthis.tv, go get it. If you're listening on the audio experience, apologies, you're not going to be able to get it. It's going to be too late. This recording will have gone out after Cyber Monday has finished. So that's it from me tonight. Hope you have enjoyed that. Brian says fair play. Cheers, Brian. Yeah, I just like to be kind and like honest with people. It's just not fair if you discount stuff that other people have paid full price for. Nonsense. So thank you for that. Looks like everybody's done comment-wise. 10 seconds for any comments before I begin closing down. I'm going to be back next Monday for what's Monday? Next Monday's the first. Oh my God, it's the first Monday of December. It's a live Q&A. So anything goes next Monday night. Bring your questions. Anything to do with acting, voiceover, online marketing, mindset. Just anything. You know what? Anything goes in it. It's just an open Q&A. Anything you think I can help you with, come along and have a nice time. Wendy says thanks Wendy. I think that's all for the comments. If I missed a comment, apologies. I've closed that window down so I can't see any more comments just while I get to the screen where I can actually end this. If I can help anybody with anything in the meantime, drop me a message at ross@actsonthis.tv. Do you know what? Don't know whether to say this or not. Just thinking, for those on the audio experience who might have missed this whole thing, don't tell anybody at all, right? Only for those who are here live now, you go and get your free membership, your free 2 weeks now if you've not got one already. If you're listening to this, it means you're listening on the audio experience. This will not go out anywhere else. So it means you've probably tuned into a lot and you've been supportive of me in the past. If you want to get that 2 week trial, I will extend it until this Friday, the last day in November. It's not going to be on the website. If you go to the website, it won't be there anymore. The public won't get it. Email me, ross@actsonthis.tv. just put free trial in the subject, and I'll sort you out with a link to get 2-week free trial as well if you don't already have a membership to the site. It's only for those on the audio experience. It won't be advertised anywhere else, just on the off chance you've listened the whole way through this, got to the end, and you're like, shit, I've missed it. No one else will get that. Just for you guys on the live broadcast right now, you've still got time, and those on the audio experience, you can have it until Friday. After that, I mean, it's absolutely gone. It will go midnight, basically December the 1st. So you've got till the end of November to get that. Just a few days left. So can't say fairer than that. Right, this looks like it's all set up and ready to end. Thank you so much for being here. Hugely appreciate you, whether you've watched live or you're on the audio experience, etc. Spread the word about Acts on this. Bring some more people to the party. The more people we get here, the more people we can help, and the more guests I can get on for you lot. I've got some such incredible guests coming up in December. You're going to love it. I'll talk to you more about that another time. Until then, enjoy the rest of your nights or the afternoon if you're in America, and I'll catch up with you next Monday, same time, same place, 9 p.m. Be here or be... I don't know what rhymes with here. Be here. Be here. Or submit to fear. Maybe the fear will hold you back. Remember, I don't know. Be here or be doing something with your rat somewhere. It sounds so wrong, doesn't it? Don't let your rat get one over on you. Until next time, bye for now.